Welcome back to the Wig Room.
Erica, how was your week?
It was good. I played Lucille Ball at Paramount Studios.
Yes, you did. That was a big event.
Yeah, very big, 1,200 people.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the New York set, so I was enjoying that. I got to go on a stoop, and it was so detailed. They had the brownstone and the stoop, and even when you open the door, you could see a warehouse. I don't know if they were trying to look like New York, but it looked like New York.
Is that the first time you've been to Paramount?
I've been to Paramount, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's been a while.
You know, that's one thing I will mention. We are so lucky living in Los Angeles to be able to work at all these studios.
Mm-hmm.
I just worked at Fox, Sony, Warner Brothers is always a lot of fun, Universal, because this is where it all happened.
In fact, one of the guests was grilling me about Lucy, and I have to say I have a block about Lucy. I grew up watching I Love Lucy, even though it came out in the 50s. I loved it,
Yeah.
and I watched it all the time, and I love her, but I feel like maybe I'm just insecure that I feel like I'm not as funny as her, I'm not as talented as her, because I cannot get her voice down, no matter how much I try. But anyway, he was grilling me about Lucy, do you know what Lucy's relationship is with Paramount Studios? And I was just improvising and pretending I'm well, she, shot here. Apparently, Desilu Studios was at Paramount or was Paramount or something.
Before it moved over and he had his own studio.
Yeah, he told me
In
that.
Culver City, right? That's interesting, and we can talk about that. Because today we are going to be talking about impersonator deep dives. What it's like for us to take a new character from start to finish. We're going to talk about how to build a character, what does it take, what is the process, and what is the cost. Okay, so I know Lucy is one that you've been working on, and I've done Desi a few times over the years, even before you, and you know how I feel about that. But when you talk about not having the voice down exactly, or I have that issue with Pee Wee Herman. There are some things I can do as Pee Wee, and there are some that I just cannot seem to get that guttural thing all the time. So.
And with my Lucy, I just wind up going too high pitched, and I don't know.
And she's lower pitched. That's almost. It would be good to work with somebody who's done Lucy, who understands that character.
Another thing, how does the character pose? Because Marilyn's all she tilt like that, but Lucy
Every
is
character
more...
has a certain pose. Most characters, and Lucy's one. So Lucy, I guess, would be that, or she's. It was always the expressive
big eyes, or like her mouth,
When you do the mouth thing, that works. I've seen that work. Or she's crying. Or that.
He's doing that a lot.
So you're getting them. I'll talk about really quickly what I did this past week.
Okay.
I was blessed to be brought back to a wonderful membership club in Indian Wells, which is outside of Palm Springs, California. And they bring me in to do their New Year's Eve events, sometimes different ancillary events throughout the year for their members, very high end. So I can't talk about who it is or any of that. And then they have me do their end of season. End of season is end of March in Palm Springs. So that's basically when the town starts to close down some. By May, Canada's not there anymore. People who are
end of season.
It gets too hot. So it's the people that come into their second houses. So this season we did the Rendezvous, and they wanted it to be Sexy Supper Club. So I think people have a lot of grand ideas, and they throw a lot of things my way, and it's usually 2-3 months of putting it all together. I had 22 entertainers throughout 2 events. We had aerialists, we had contortionists, we had stilt walkers, we had ambient performers, dancers, and things changed quite a bit. We had the full show, which was going to be an aerialist show with a tripod and the ring, 2 lollipop. I'm learning all this stuff. This is the first time I'd ever booked aerialists. So I reached out to a friend of mine who used to do Bruno Mars, and who's now big time actor, aerialist. Anyway, so the day before, they're like, okay, we can't do it outside because we had a heat wave. And he said, so it's all going inside. So we have to take 500 people and stick them into a room that holds 350.
So you had 22 performers there, and everybody set to go on stage and do a certain thing at a certain time, and you had to change all of that. How did they?
Several people
handle
were in
that?
the cocktail hour. So we were having cocktail hour where there was a number of things going on, and then there was everybody sits down for dinner, and then there's this show, short, 15 minutes. I'd created a Cirque soundtrack for it, chose the costumes, all those things. It was ready to go. I mean, that morning they wanted 2 additional dancer, aerialists, or contortionists to be in this new environment to fill the room differently. So I was scrambling to do that and made that happen. And then 1 hour before doors, they said the GM doesn't want any music at all in the dining room during dinner.
So don't do the show at all?
Don't do the show at all.
And
They said we
still
can-
pay everybody?
Oh yeah.
So did they perform without the music?
So we ended up putting all 4 of the aerialists in the cocktail area with the lollipops, and they rotated, and we made it happen.
Oh, you moved the show earlier.
We moved, yeah. And it wasn't really much of a show. It was really more ambient performances that were going on during.
What's a lollipop?
A lollipop is an aerialist apparatus, and it's a pole and a ring. Just like this ring light we're using right now. Same thing, and people hang off of it and flip around on it. And,
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I needed riggers, I needed all these things to happen.
And the performers were good sports? They weren't like, I'm not ready to go on an hour before.
2 hours.
So how did they get ready in time?
They just did. I said, who's ready? Who's up? Because we're rotating. You know, if you're working with talent, seasoned entertainers that have been doing this for a while, they have been thrown everything. And so it's like, we're going to run with it. Sure, you get a feeling hurt, perhaps. They were just rehearsing it that morning at a studio, the show. Like, look, now we've got this show, so we'll use it again. So I just try to be positive, because at the end of the day, we've been paid. They're being lovely. They're the ones scrambling. So let's support the client in the best way we can. And I got a big thank you on Monday. Look, I'm just happy that people are calling, and keep calling. So, and that's the same place that you did the interview of Maria Shriver.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Kevin called me and he wanted me to be an onstage MC and host and conduct an interview. The Women's Alzheimer's Foundation. So I immediately became terrified.
Well, talk about a character deep dive, right? This is something else completely. But I was called, and they had a couple of people in mind. Maybe local ABC people or something, and that's not the direction they wanted to go anymore. They came to me. Now that's trust. And what a great woman she was, right?
She was so sweet and so beautiful, and so I read maybe 3 of her books and made all these questions, and then to ask her, and then our contact at the Alzheimer's Foundation, Women's Alzheimer's Movement, helped me refine the questions. And Maria, Maria just is so used to public speaking that she just needs one little cue, and then she'll go and run with it.
This was a long process to put together. So we get there, Maria gets there, and she meets us. She's wonderful. She looks to you. She says, "Okay, what are we doing?"
One thing I did, I'm a little embarrassed. I read in one of her books, it said that she really appreciates when someone she works with writes her a thank you note. So I wrote her a thank you note. I got a card and I wrote her a thing and I handed it to her after we were done.
Oh, did you tell me that?
I think I did, in the car.
There was so much going on that day, too. I'm sure
But
she loved it.
Well, I don't even know if she remembered writing that because she seemed confused, but I don't know. Maybe she liked it. I don't know.
Well, no, but she asked you, what's the plan? And you said, we're going to start here. I'm going to welcome this. We're going to transition to this. And I'd like to end here. She said, that's great.
Yeah.
And, she took over.
She did.
She did. You opened up, the floodgates, and then she knew where she was going with it, and you were able to jump in to sort of guide it, because we had a very limited amount of time. And it was a room filled with women, and they were very happy. Okay, so we are now moving on.
Okay, we're going to do a character deep dive. We're going to show how when we have the assignment to do a character, we have a gig, where we begin, and how we build a character and how we put together the performance. I would say the first step in building a character is to find out what about the character and what era of that character the client is looking for, so you know what look to put together. Because with some of the celebrities that have had many incarnations in their career, you don't know, do they want like young Elvis or Vegas Elvis or, you know.
But to even go back further, and maybe we'll loop this differently, but when you took the character on, when I decided to do Marilyn or decided to do Britney, then what happened? Okay,
so the first thing I do is just watch everything available on the character. So for Marilyn, I watched every single one of her movies. For Britney, I grew up with Britney, so I was very familiar with her, but I just rewatched some of her music videos and some of her live performances. So it's just like taking it all in and getting a sense of how they move, how they speak. Like with Dolly, watching her interviews was really helpful because I could see the way that she just like sat in a chair, and she's very girly and, you know, like that, and she's very like down home and stuff. Like all that stuff really helps. Then I put together the look. So I'll usually start with the wig, and you always want to go like a little bit more exaggerated than real life, because
good point.
It's a show, you know. It's a little bit more fabulous than, say, for example, a film or whatever that wants more realism.
We can go a little over the top with it.
And then the costume. We got to put together the costume and which look you're going to do with that. And then if it's like a musical artist, I will work on a few of their songs. Like I'll choose their most iconic songs that I think the client will want to hear. And I'll just work on getting their voice down and have their performance down, and put together a track for the performance, because usually we're working with tracks. Occasionally we sing with a band, and I've done that before too. Like with Marilyn, I got some musical charts put together for...
Which is a very different thing and entails much more, because you have to meet with the band, you got to rehearse. You can't just throw somebody on the stage and ask them to work with the band. So go on.
So yeah, you have to provide sheet music for the band too, and then you also have to know your sheet music. So like for Marilyn, I got like 5 of her songs broken down for a 7-piece band. And so when I go to perform, sometimes the band is like, they're playing a song, and I'm like, wait, this is different from the recording. So you really have to rehearse.
Yeah.
I try to get their physicality down and their voice, and I'll kind of like pick a phrase or two and just work on that, like that will get me into their voice.
Okay.
And their personality.
Absolutely.
So like for Marilyn, there's a scene in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes where she's speaking with the father of the guy that she's trying to gold dig, and she's like, don't you know that a man being rich is like a girl being pretty? Like it.
So that's the phrase to get you into her?
Yeah, so I kept rewatching that again and again and again, and that helped me get her voice, because she was tough, because with her, you just think like, you just put on a breathy voice. But it's not that. She also has an accent to her too. Like she also has like, don't you know that blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's that almost a little touch of the transatlantic. It's this proper thing that she's doing that was there in the 50s and 60s. And it sounds strange to your ear at first, because you're like, you're going over the top. But if you listen, that's what she's doing.
That's what she's doing. So that's the difference between just like making an assumption of how she sounds and actually studying how she sounds and fine-tuning that.
And committing to it.
Yeah. I would say for me, Joan Rivers would be the one I would talk about, And how I got into Joan Rivers is that Joan was being roasted by Comedy Central. And somebody called and said, we're doing the after party at CBS Radford, and we want 3 Drag Joans. And there weren't 3 Drag Joans that I knew of. I was brand new in this business. So there was somebody in Jersey I brought out, my friend Terry Navarra, who was a woman. I thought, she could pass as a Drag Joan, and she's hilarious. And she was out here, and then I thought, ding, I could do this. So Terry helped me to get into it, and the 3 of us did it, and I got the Joan bug. That was it. Mm-hmm. So, she had given me a costume and a wig, and it was a little older school Joan. And, again, if you're not making money, for me, I don't want to spend it. So I think I went down to the Mothers of the Bride store downtown, where they had all these beaded gowns, and bought different things that I thought would be right for her. Mm-hmm. Some were way more garish than she'd ever wear, or just a little more matronly. Joan Rivers was always in Beverly Hills, where she didn't wear anything that was not expensive mm-hmm. or made for her. So it took some time as far as that went. Got the wig, got the glasses, and we'll talk about makeup in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Learning how to contour the features, especially when you're a male going into a female character. Excuse me. And then the character itself. She's a tough one because she is not just a New York Jewish woman. I believe that she has, similar to Shakespeare, a iambic pentameter.
Oh.
She has a kind of way she speaks. So Joan is like this, she's like this, then she's over here, and then I was there, and now I'm here. I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. Who cares where I was? So it's that kind of thing. So she's not just, hi, I'm a New York Jew,
Yeah.
And sometimes I got to fight against it when it's a long MC or I sometimes will get lazy mm-hmm. and I fall into just going there, hello everyone, but she's not, she's got to stay, she's quick. Mm-hmm. She's always answering her own questions. Mm-hmm. And what are you looking at?
You have to think really quick.
But I think that's how my brain works, and it's why I tapped so well into her, and I think why I do as well as I do as her. But, the other end of the spectrum would be like when I do a Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp does not have a character unless you are doing Captain Jack mm-hmm. or Willy Wonka or...
Doesn't he kind of talk a little bit like...
But he also has a bit of a transatlantic, so he sounds a little, mm-hmm. I don't know, and he's from Tennessee, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you get to talk like that?
Mm-hmm. And Madonna.
Well, who's New York? No, she's from Midwest, Minnesota?
She's from Michigan.
Michigan.
But then she lived in New York, and when she was doing Suddenly Meeting Susan, she was kind of like this, and then all of a sudden she's now a little bit clipped.
I don't know how it happens.
She's another one challenging for me to do her voice.
The one thing I will say, and then we can move on, is that learning Joan Rivers at the level that I did puts me in a much more comfortable place when I'm meet and greeting mm-hmm. as her, but any other character as well. Mm-hmm. Because Johnny Depp does not have a character, so he's a little more wallflower. Michael Jackson, outside of being on stage, did not have a big character. But being Joan has helped me with the characters that don't have a personality mm-hmm. and not being afraid of creating them. Mm-hmm. Like I remember I did Johnny Depp at a big real estate convention here in Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. Early. So they had coffee, but that was it. And I thought to myself, Johnny Depp, before Amber Heard took it all, was a very, very wealthy man and had, residents all over the place in different countries, an island, so I thought, okay, this is the time for me to meet everybody because I'm seeking a new realtor. And they loved this. Like, you tell me about yourself and tell me why I should go with you. And people would be like, what? And it worked.
Okay, so we're running out of time here. We have to be there at 5:30.
We have a sound check at 5:30.
So we're gonna show you a little taste of my Britney.
So you're gonna get a real feel for the deep dive. Erica's gonna come back as something else. So We'll see you in a minute.
Bye.
So while Erica's getting ready, I wanted to touch on the makeup aspect, actually contouring, changing features. in order to become more that character. And that's a whole nother level of things that many artists don't understand. With Joan Rivers, actually I should go back. I did a play, an ongoing show, and I did Joan Crawford. And I had a makeup artist actually show me do the makeup. I wrote it all down, I videotaped it to learn, especially male going into a female character, how to remove, something like a jawline, make the nose smaller. My eyes tend to be closer together than most people's, so how do you whiten that in order to widen the eye frame? Female eyebrows, like you get rid of them and you draw them up here, especially if it's an over-the-top character. So that's a big piece of this industry. And when I see folks come and have done none of that, then it doesn't work because you don't look enough like the character. So Erica is coming in right now.
Hi.
Hey, Erica. Ladies and gentlemen, Britney Spears is here.
Hello, Kevin.
Hi there, Brittany. So, hey, Brittany.
Oh, yes. Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
Thanks
Well,
for
you
having
look
me on the wig room.
you look fantastic. Actually, you look better than you've looked in quite some time.
Oh, thank you. I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
I just got a little refresh.
You
Now that I got
certainly
rid
have.
of my husband.
So let me ask you, Brittany. There's a something that you've coined, a quote that you've coined that I love so much. What is it again?
You want a Maserati? You want a Bugatti? You want a hot body? You better work, bitch.
You better work, bitch. And tonight you're working.
I am working. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing the song "Circus" from the album "Circus," which came out in 2008, I think, right after I went into my conservatorship, and then I'm gonna lead into "Womanizer,"
Womanizer. Okay.
which was the first lead single off that record.
Well, good. So I hope they like it. You think they will?
They better like it. It's Britney, bitch.
Okay, so this is actually Erica, not really Brittany, but you look great. I love this. This is the first time I've seen let me do something here. The first time I've seen this circus look.
This is the first time I've worn this circus look. I got this costume, Kevin would kill me. I got this from Fashion Nova. And then I zhuzhed it out with, this is my own wig. I've worn this wig for actually Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm.
I did Amber Heard. And this is my own hat.
Much better wig. No, you look great.
Thank you.
It looks fantastic. She's got the high boots that she's going to wear over the fishnets. We have to be careful with corporate that we can't be too sexy. It can't be too high. It can't be too low.
It's Britney.
It's Britney, bitch.
It's Britney, bitch.
I was just talking a little bit about the makeup aspect of things and how we contour in order to change us to them. So I literally will put me and a photo in the mirror and I will say what's different. And that's how I started. How about you?
I look up several pictures on Google Image of the celebrity and I try to do my makeup like them. I don't work with contour too much because I don't think I'm that good at it. But when I do characters whose face structure is very different than mine, I will work with it. Like when I did Melania, I had to really skin my nose, make my nose skinnier and stuff. With Britney, I just did my regular contour. With Britney, how her face is different than mine is her eyebrows are actually like Marilyn's eyebrows. Her eyebrows are light and pointy, and so, but I have more of like a Joan Crawford brow. And then their mouth shape. So I don't know, with Britney, I kind of do more of a bow shape with her.
Well, you actually have lips. I'm like pencil lipped. So with all characters, I have to add some kind of lip, especially women. Like I literally will draw all the way up here, my top lip. But so all right, folks, we are actually going to be heading out to the event where you will be performing as Britney. We're seeing Rose as Tina Turner, who is performing Proud Mary. Join us next time on
The Wig Room.
The Wig Room.